Now we can actually officially start. Okay. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. As I mentioned, today is Automation Day. I'm your host, Amy Keenan from the ISV Society. I'm excited to be here and chat with you and have these amazing presenters chat with you about 4 different areas that you can automate your business. We will be recording this, as I mentioned, so the recording will be shared afterwards, and we will email it to everybody so that you can see it again if you're not able to stay the whole time and view the parts that you missed or share with your team or colleagues. So you'll get an email with that before the end of the week. This is our lineup for today. So we're going to start out with Data Courage, then commercebuild, then MetaViewer, then HighRadius. And this is what they will be sharing with you on today's series. Before we do want or get started, I do want to launch a poll just to kick things off. So please feel free to let us know, how have you automated your reporting? Love to know if you use Excel, Power BI, Power Apps, or if you're still doing it manually. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to stop sharing so you can start sharing, Madison.
Okay, thanks, Amy.
You're welcome.
Just going to start sharing my screen.
And it looks like everybody, majority are Power BI.
Great, awesome, thanks.
Yeah, so welcome Madison. Let's kick it off.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
You're welcome.
I'm just going to go into presentation mode. Okay, are you seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes. But it has your notes slides, your next slide.
Okay, let me switch my, there, is that better?
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, just having 2 screens is difficult sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. So I just want to thank everyone for having me here. I'm from Data Courage. So just welcome to Automation Day. We are a one-stop shop for reporting and analytics. And today I'm just going to be talking a little bit about who we are and how our customer intelligence app can help you streamline your reporting solution. So just a little bit about Data Courage. So our big thing is AI analytics. We use predictive analytics, machine learning. We also do reporting and budgeting solutions, including Power BI and most of the Power Platform, along with the Jet services. But big thing today that I'm going to be talking about is our AI app for Business Central. So we've been around for 15 years. Previously, Jet Reports UK, but now we have a new name. So if you're not familiar with us, it's good to meet you. So we have about 650 customers across 30 countries and just starting in the stateside. So we have a lot of experience with reporting, and we're really excited to show off what we have today. So our AI app for customer intelligence is fully integrated with Business Central. And it's going to offer you automatic reporting at your fingertips with just a click of a button so that you can monitor customer churn as often as you want. And it's going to refresh daily, weekly, however often you need it to, so that you don't have to spend time creating these reports and building them out yourself. They're already going to be in this app for you. So with that said, I'm going to stop sharing this screen and go to my Business Central environment. Okay, perfect. Okay, so our app is fully integrated with Business Central. It's about a 5-minute install. So it's very quick to set up, and it's going to offer you in-depth customer churn statistics. So when you add it to your Business Central environment, you can see that it's going to add some of these charts right away to your homepage. So for instance, my churn probability, which is the probability that a customer is going to leave our business. So normally we try to get ahead of this, but sometimes, a customer leaves and we don't know why, and we're stuck trying to figure out after they've already left. This app is going to give you the ability to monitor their activities using AI so that you can get ahead of it before they actually leave. So the first chart on the left is going to give us the probability of churn broken down into a pie chart. So you can see right now, I only have one person who is probably going to leave my company. Now, the same information is also shown on the right side in these tiles. So you can see that it's ranked from very low, so very unlikely to leave, to very high, very likely to leave. And if I click on this tile here, it's going to take me into this list page that's specifically going to show all of the customer information for that person that's going to leave my business. I can go into the customer card, just like normal Business Central functionality. And then on the info tab, we have our 6 relevant KPIs. So we monitor your customers using these 6 statistical formulas. So monetary is how much money they've spent with you total. Frequency is the total number of purchases. This person's bought 27 times. Loyalty, that's the number of days between the first time they bought from you and then the last time they bought from you. So this person's been with us well over 1 year. And then recency is the time since last purchase. So it's been 245 days for this customer specifically. Now, if we go into purchase interval, that's going to be their average time between purchases. So you can see this person buys about every 40 days from us, but now they're averaging 245 from their last purchase. So something's up there. And then the rating takes all those 5 above KPIs and puts them on a weighted scale, and it's going to rank your customers from like your best customer all the way to kind of like your least interactive customer. So the lower the number on this scale, the better. So you can see this person's number 35 out of 135. Now, if I go back to my homepage, I also have a second half of this, which is going to show my very high likely to churn sales versus profit statistics, and then more tiles. So this is the most important group of our app. It's going to group all of your customers into different groups. So you can see that we have average customers, modest spenders, rare buyers, very loyal, high frequency buyers, all of our customers, and then people who are not active. That means that they haven't interacted with our business yet, and we don't have enough information on them. So similar to the other tiles, I can go in here and see my list page and see everybody who's categorized in this group. So you can see these are all my modest spenders, and I also have my normal information, same as the other info tab. Now, if I don't want to see modest spenders, I can also change. So we have 6 total groups that the AI has recognized for our environment for our demos. So I'm going to change this to people with unusual behavior. So this is customizable for however you want to view your customer information. And you can edit and hide sections just like you normally would in Business Central. You can see I have my rating over here, and now I have this tile has been changed to reflect my unusual clients. Now, all of these initially are viewable with the basic level of our app. If you want the more intense automation with your reporting, that's going to be with our enterprise level. So our first thing is this Power BI report that we've put together in this package to give you insights immediately. So for this customer, let me go to all market. They're just my favorite. And you can see that we have this tiny Power BI report here that's going to give us a little basic analysis on sales information for this customer, as well as all that customer intelligence with the churn information that we saw earlier. So all of this comes already built out for you. You don't have to build it yourself at all. And then also we have a package of Power BI reports that are also powered by our AI. So I'm going to expand these so we can see it better. So this package of reports covers everything from general sales information, as you can see here, just breakdown of sales by product category, product line, date, and etc. Furthermore, we also do customer tracking, so you can see how many customers you've gained versus lost over time, and then the customer group algorithm. So I'm skipping through a lot of these. They're very intense, and if you would like a more detailed demo, you can definitely reach out. But you can see that we also, with the group analysis from the AI, we do the same sales analysis, except now we can filter by group. So the group, let's say clients with unusual behavior, we can see their breakdown of sales. So we can see that they mostly bought cell phones from us, and that quantity was around 65,000. Now, if I want to go directly down and see what specific cell phones they've bought, I can drill down into this, and it's going to give me the category code description about what we've sold. So it seems like the SIM card starter kit is the most popular with our unusual customers. Now with the group, we also have customer group flow. So if you want to monitor how your customers are moving between groups over time, we offer that functionality as well, all within this automated reporting system. So average customer might move between groups and suddenly become an unusual spender, or maybe they're going to become a really good customer all of a sudden. So you want to monitor over time how your customer breakdown is changing. So you can also view that information on the list page. So if you want to go drill into a specific customer and see their history, that is also an option. One of my favorite ones is customer migration. So we have the customer breakdown, but this is my favorite chart out of all of them. It's going to show us how our customers moved over time. So if I go back in time to 2018, and I click on my average customers, you can see that I had 51 average customers. And then on the last time that we updated this on January 6th, they broke into these 3 other groups. So you can see how your customers are moving between groups in this visual way. We also have our near churn chart. So this is just going to be a visualization of who's closest to churn. You can see the breakdown here of it's also by group. So we have very loyal, good spenders. Most of them are in the medium, so they're probably not going to leave, but we have we have one that's very likely to leave. So this is just a visualization of this. And then we have several other filters on each page that are available to you, so you can really drill into your data and figure out what's causing customer churn. Our AI also does a thing based on key influencers. So if you want to see what's causing your customers to be in a certain group, it will run this analysis. So for instance, I have what influences my customer group to be unusual behavior. So for instance, this might be broken down by country code. It might be broken down by salesperson. It can be broken down by whatever you tell us that you want the AI to monitor. So for instance, we've seen that for this one, the customer posting group is EU. So that causes them more likely to be unusual. And then also the specific salesperson with the code LH, their customers are going into this unusual behavior group at almost 14 times the average of everybody else in the company. So it's just a good way to monitor what key factors in your business might be causing people to be in specific groups, whether it be a good group or kind of a bad group. So all of these Power BI reports are available to you with our app, and they're already built out. So you just load the data into your Dynamic Business Central environment, and it should all be there ready to go. So I'm going to stop sharing. And does anybody have any questions about the app?
And you can put your questions in the Q&A tab on the bottom.
That works.
If you do have any questions, and we'll answer them. But that's, you know what, that is, I can see how that information can be extremely valuable. I mean, who doesn't want to know all of that information on their customers? It just can help create, provide such great insights, especially with churn and knowing what your customers are buying, or, how much they're spending with you. I mean, that's all such valuable information. And I think anyone using Business Central would probably need this.
Yeah,
partners
thanks,
and customers.
Yeah, it really helps anybody.
I guess we have a quiet group. If you do have questions, though, you can put them in the Q&A. Oh,
I
wait,
think someone-
how long does
How
it
long
take to
does it
implement?
take to?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so thanks for that. That's a great question. Right now it's available on AppSource. So it's just downloadable. If you search for Data Courage, it's about 5 minutes to get the basic version up and running. So it doesn't take a super long install process at all.
And that's makes it even better. Can plug and play them pretty much, which is what a lot
Yeah,
of
basically.
people want nowadays from solutions. All right. Well, if there isn't any more questions, you can certainly again
Thank you,
ask them
Tristan.
throughout the day, and we'll check them throughout the webinar. But thank you so much, Madison. This was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
All right. So next up in line is Jay Newman from commercebuild. Welcome, Jay. We're going to launch a poll. Do you have a need for an e-commerce or a customer portal? And I feel like your product and Data Courage can really go hand in hand with providing customer insights, customer intelligence, and then you actually helping the customer get what they need online.
Perfect. Howdy.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for taking the poll.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to get started. I'm going to run through some slides real quickly just to make sure that the live demo portion of this, as live demos always are, gets messy. But we'll go through. I think everyone on the call probably knows about e-commerce, but some other exciting things we've got. So I'm from Texas. I'd love to talk to anyone that has any interest of talking about sailing, eating great food, the lore of Texas. If you love your ERP, e-commerce, or anything else for that matter, I'd love to help out. The first question to pose here is, why would you want to enable something in an automation format that's also for your customers? It's not just for an internal automation process, but it's also for your customers, for enabling them to self-serve, enabling them to process the orders themselves, as opposed to having your team process orders. We think a big part of automation needs to be both, and it needs to be a similar buying experience as we've all experienced using Amazon. And why not provide that at level and at scale for anyone using Business Central to help their customers to be happier about being able to self-service, but more importantly for you as drive new revenue streams, increase the amount of customers you've got, allow your customers to know more things to buy with related items and other things like that. So we look at automation through two areas. One area is just through this notion of customers being able to buy things, and the biggest bullet point there would be at the very bottom. This is not a 5-day a week, 8 or 10 hour day operation. This allows people to buy at their convenience, day or night, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That is a huge, huge, huge thing going forward for today's economy, that we can't underestimate the value of that. The customer inquiry portal is the next piece of an automation that we like to think about, and we offer both, either standalone or together. But the customer inquiry portal allows somebody to find out the information instead of having to call or email your customer service team. When's my order going to ship? What's the invoice? Where's the tracking number? All the things that are administrative in nature, which are valuable for your customer service team and your company to do. But let's be honest, they're somewhat repetitive and they're reactive in nature. And what our belief is, you could solve for that proactively by having the customer at their convenience find out that information. And look, buyers want automation. The lots of studies and sources here from any statistic you want. But the piece is that big and small companies alike really do have to think about what they're doing to provide a better buying experience for their customers. And in doing so, be on the right side of these percentages of buyers that will actually pay more for a supplier that has a great store or portal. Of 2/3 of the companies out there, particularly with the millennial generation and younger coming along, where they're 100% wanting to self-serve. They really don't want to speak on the phone. They really don't want to correspond via email. They want to take care of their needs on themselves. So the world of buying for business to business and business to consumer obviously has changed. We like showing this slide, and the reason why is there's probably one or two of these items that are important to you, your executives, your line level employees, things that you're trying to accomplish in the year ahead. It may not be thinking of the recession concerns or what's going to happen with the rate hikes, but it may be just trying to find a few more customers and winning them and having them stay loyal to you. It may be reducing your administration costs. There's a study that shows the error rate on hand-keyed orders is usually 5%. And because a customer is going to do a cart and actually know exactly what they're purchasing, which is with a picture, there's a possibility of reducing those error rates inside your company. So if you think of any one of these, that's reason enough to take a look at our platform, and there's many others out there in the field. We obviously like ours, but we're really strong in believing pick a product that allows you to get online, and in our instance, get online really easily. Ours is purpose built. Everything comes out of the box. It's in app source. It's plug and play and ready to go. It allows you to get a standalone customer portal set up in less than a day. And most of our stores are able to be accomplished in 30 days. It's a fixed fee project. It doesn't have a bad experience of projects gone awry, and has an affordable starting price. We think things should be in the under $10,000 to get started instead of the tens of thousands of dollars to get started. And really, you can be in a number of different verticals of thinking of e-commerce or portal automation, manufacturing, industrial, chemical. We've got service companies, we've got landscaping companies, a seller of bowling balls, all using the platform to service their customers a little bit better. And we're proud to say that in general, if you sell something and you have inventory and pricing in your Business Central environment, we're a good choice. The customer portal itself does a lot of things, and we'll go into show it here briefly in just a moment. But the principal piece to be aware of is a lot of the bullet points on the rag. And it may be that one customer just wants to get the tracking numbers, and maybe another customer wants to download the actual invoice from you, right? As if they were logged into Business Central. It may be that you can enable your DSOs to go down by allowing customers to pay their invoices online and make it easier for them to transact and spend money with you. So the portal itself is not an ordering platform, but it is an inquiry platform that can really help out on the right-hand side there of a number of things. We like to think of this as an investment that should pay for itself within a month or two. So what we show here is the representation of how many customer service reps that a company has, what they get paid. This is actually from a customer that plans on doubling in size, and they don't have to add additional customer service reps by implementing our customer portal using this calculator. They get 6 days back of time in their week. A store, and this is commonly called a web store, but it's anything that you can think of. What you see there is a picture of an ice cream manufacturer that is selling to ice cream shops across Western Canada. What we're able to do is have a way to get online quite easily and have an ability to have all the features of an e-commerce platform, but do so in a way that makes it easy not only to get started, but also to manage it. We feel that just like a lot of the other products you'll see today, these should be products that you can manage, and you don't have to hire expensive SEO experts or people that are going to maintain the site for you. We have in one of our customers, the warehouse manager is actually the administrator for the site. So it is something that everyone can see a value and not have a hidden cost down the road for having somebody super expensive to maintain it. And same thing, we like to think of this as an ROI calculation. As you can see here from this is taking into account an amount of revenue, what you think could go through the store, how many times that you have orders come in, how long it takes to put in an order. That 5% is that industry standard there, and in this scenario, even with a one-time implementation fee of $10,000 and a turnkey software monthly recurring revenue to us, paid to us, of $775 US, it's going to bring back 10 days within a month of 20. And we're using only 21 business days here for the calculation. It's going to effectively add 50% of the staff by implementing this, by enabling just 10% of those orders to go through a store instead of being manually keyed into Business Central. All of this sounds really good, but one piece that we're also most proud of is that we're making this connection to Business Central very quick. It is something that we've been in the cloud since 2008. It's a cloud first, not a derivative of an on-premise application. So, we're able to connect quickly. We're able to plan a project with you to get to deliverables, and in the instance of that store, be able to implement it all within 30, 60 days. A customer view portal, and really it takes 2 hours, but we're going to be conservative and say 1 to 2 days. And all of this is centered around giving you a way to get online rapidly. And think of those savings that you could get, or think of the large customer that's happier with you because they don't have to wait for someone to key in their email order or someone to answer the phone to place their order. They're able to self-serve and be able to buy from you a lot more easily. And also for you have something that is going to be proven. We actually like doing proof of concepts where we can connect directly in and show you what a preliminary store would look like, or build that portal with you to be able to demonstrate how much this actually is going to work. The other thing that we are incredibly proud of is not just selling a good product or making it easy to implement, but we end up with customers that stay with us for a long time, that we spend the time and effort to make sure that things are working right. And because the internet doesn't sleep, our team, while they do sleep, they work with their own natural hours. But we have members of our team around the world, starting in Australia and New Zealand time zone, then over to the West Coast of Canada and the US, down to the East Coast. We have our director of our vice president of customer care as actually a digital nomad in Argentina, going over to Ireland and the UK, and then finally ended up in Dubai. And we think that having people that are our employees around the clock supporting our customers is just a really great way to go to enable success for anyone wanting to take this step into a digital transformation, not only for their company internally, but for their customers, and giving them the chance to have a great experience. So we're going to move over from this to a demo, and let me get that teed up. All right, rock and roll. So what you see here today is just a standard Kronos demo. We actually like to demo in terms of your industry, but because this is a wide audience, I'll do the furniture land here of Kronos instead. And what this brings to the forefront. By the way, this is super slow because my internet is chugging along at nothing. What it brings to the forefront is the chance to build something out of the box. This is all, once you connect, all these portions come up for your store, so that you can have a quick order for order entry. You can shop and browse for products. So if you want to buy some chairs, there they are. You can create favorites lists or active items that you're always ordered, and you want to place reorders super easily for your customers. There's a way for them to find out information about their orders. When have they shipped, and what's the tracking number for them? And even using that to download information as well. So they can see, via their PO number, what date it was ordered. They can search, a particular date. And, this goes back to the transaction history that you have inside of Business Central. So super easy for a customer to self-serve to find out information. Same true on shipments, where a customer wants to actually see the current status. It has it shipped. What's my tracking number? What's my shipment document? Or the aspect of the order, who did it ship by? All those kind of things that customers usually have to call you. They can do so themselves around the clock. This is not just for website orders. This is every order that's inside of Business Central. So I'm Alpine Ski House, and I've got one order that came in from a hand keyed order, and I've got the rest of these web orders. So this is all orders that are there. The transaction history screen is also there that allows a customer to self-serve and see their transactions, see what invoices are open for payment, be able to download those actual invoices out of Business Central, and then go so far as to, if you'd like to elect this, actually enable them to pay those open invoices. So they can see each one of the aspects of what invoices are open. If you have some things inside of Business Central of time sensitive discounts there, obviously the Business Central's showing that you got to pay it by 1970. So proof of live demos never working as advertised. But the point being is you can go in and decide which invoices that you want to pay. Go all the way through, and if you wanted the customer to pay via credit card number, that's perfect, or ACH, and we do this through a number of common gateways that are central inside of Business Central, so no different than you probably already have set up today. All of this is geared around that opportunity of enabling your customer to find information and then place orders online. One of the most popular features we have, because a lot of times your customers, they don't need to see what it looks like. They just need to place their order. And we have what we call quick order. And this is a way in which somebody can, even make this persistent and keep all these items in here, but find what they're looking for. And they don't have to have the SKU, the product number. They can just go in and see the status of particular items, what's on hand. Now that can be hidden if you'd like, and just show if it's in stock or out of stock, what the correct price is, what's the unit of measure, and even go so far as if it's something to ship, is this going to weigh too much or not enough. All of those things around making an order easy for your customer to place is what we try to do. The aspect of placing an order online, I think everyone on the call is familiar with that. Ours is an identical experience. However, it's taking all that rich information inside of Business Central and making it available for your customers. That way, if they have 22 different addresses to ship to, they can select which address they want to ship it to. Perhaps they want to split an order and ship it to multiple addresses, or perhaps it's an instance where they'd like to do a curbside pickup, which obviously started with the pandemic. All of those things are available for your customers to have a chance to self-service. And it really is an ability for them to have a view into Business Central as if they had a login. It is a fully separate system based in the cloud. However, it has that connectivity that's out of the box to Business Central that's as a result of AppSource. You can just search for commercebuild and AppSource and see us there. And that's where that opportunity for sales orders, the invoices, the shipment information, all the rich data that you have inside of Business Central, that's what's going to come up to the customer to see. Likewise, when a customer hits the buy button, that order is going to go to Business Central, and it's going to hit your GL correctly. It's going to be posted correctly. Everything is there so that the next time that somebody touches the order is to actually process it instead of having to have the hand keyed moments there. Another feature that we're told is great is that they don't have to have the cycles of some of those credit card transactions, for example, having a reconciliation every month. It's all reconciled automatically because it's happening inside of Business Central directly from the store. All of this is surrounding the opportunity to find a way to provide maybe just to one customer an easier way to sell, an easier way for them to find information about products, an easier way for them to shop, easier way for them to see other line items that, because they just place their orders on the phone, they don't necessarily do with themselves at a convenient time. So all of this is centered around making it simple to do business. So I'd invite anyone to check things out on our website. We've got lots of information and downloads and videos and things. We publish all of our pricing as well. We think that's a super fair way to go. Most of our customers start off with just the portal or perhaps the foundation package, and many stay there. But if your needs increase and you're really doing some advanced work inside of your ERP and you want to replicate that to the store, that's something that's perfectly available there as well. This button up here on the right is a magical button, and that allows you to get a personalized demo with a member of our team. It's not a sales session, it's more of a business needs session for us to understand what you're looking for, and then usually on the fly we can show you another one of our customers that's probably using the tool and the platform very similar to what you're trying to do. So the get a demo is a great way to go and be able to find out more and do so without the normal pressures and the hounding of what some companies do. We'd like to be a company that people like doing business with. The final thing I'll go to is we've got a very, very comprehensive knowledge base. We also publicize this as well. And we want to be the company that is honestly working with you to be able to enable your success. So if you wanted to find out more technically before even talking to us, you can go through, find out information about our platform. We do other ERPs, but our principal focus is Dynamics Business Central, and it's the cloud version there as well. Also to mention that if you had a question, you can always click the button right here. This is going to start a message to our team. We typically reply within an hour. Obviously, an emergency that comes in, we're going to reply much more quickly than that. But our goal and our response time is within 1 hour to reply to even your question about what we're doing. It doesn't have to be anything other than help online. You can see the imagery of Zach and Javed and Bradley are all online right now, waiting to help. So that's the overview of commercebuild and what we're doing, and we're thrilled that we're able to share this information with you today. I know I've gone super quick, so I'm going to pause for a second. And before I bid you adieu and give you my howdy wave and pass back to Amy and see if there's any questions that I can answer.
There actually is a question. And I love how it's, again, plug and play. That seems to be the theme with Business Central apps. But basically you can get a web store and have an e-commerce site up and running pretty quickly. So that's exciting.
And that
All
is,
right.
the way in which we've thought about this is to enable all of our prospects to go into app stores, click commercebuild. It will launch, and actually you can install it in your development environment. You can install it in your production. We don't care where it goes. But then it initiates building a store or a portal, and then our team will reach out to you. That's usually within a matter of minutes to get you set up. It'll be a branded store with your name in it. It'll be in staging, so it's not going to be searchable to the internet. But that way you can actually see live and in real time what we're talking about to be able to get started. We'll go through a wizard with you where we're going to select what colors you'd like to have. So instead of purple, you may want green. We're going to help select what sizing of font that you want, what you'd like to have from a picture or a multiple of pictures that would show up. If you don't elect to have a picture, it's just going to pull whatever image you have in Business Central for your company and post that. It's going to then give you the chance to see every one of your customers, see their order history, see what information is in Business Central. And if it's in Business Central, it's coming to the platform. And conversely, if it's at the platform and somebody wants to pay the open invoice or buy something, it's going to go back into Business Central, and you don't have to worry about that connection at all. That's all that we manage for that monthly recurring revenue. It's a subscription model, just like Microsoft. And a question we get is, well, geez, that sounds great. What if I'm doing 4 million a day? No, that's great. It's one flat price. Doesn't matter how many people are logged in. It doesn't matter if maybe even an external field team wants to use it to find a price for a customer. All those things are available, and we're just trying to democratize e-commerce and make it available to all. Anything else I could answer?
So does this have a live online connection to Business Central?
Yes, it does. It
There
does
you
have
go.
a live online connection to Business Central. When Business Central makes a change, it triggers a replication of that data to our platform. So if your inventory changes, your prices changes, that goes through and changes. And then some things, if you want to set it up to have hyper accuracy, we can even do a test of that price or that inventory before an order is placed. That's an option that some people want to have a final fail safe, but it does a bidirectional replication live with Business Central.
Can a partner implement the solution just like Dynamic Web? Have you got a partner technical enablement training curriculum?
Boy, I sure do. I would be a chump if I tried to find it right now, but if you'd like to drop your information in, I can send it over to you. It's actually online as well, and you can walk through exactly what's needed to be able to do the work. We'd actually prefer our business partners to be able to do the implementation. Some are super excited about that. Some want to let us do it, or maybe we share in those responsibilities. We're fine either way.
All right. Any other questions before we move on?
Sorry, I went
some great
so fast.
ones. No, that's okay.
Getting excited.
When you do it
All
a
right.
lot, it just becomes second nature. So
thrilling to go through it. Thanks,
yes.
everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and excited to hear everything else from the rest of the presenters. Thanks so much, Amy.
Thanks, Jay. All right. Next up, we have Doug from MetaViewer. We'll launch a quick poll, Doug, while you get ready. But basically want to know if you're looking to eliminate manual data entry, cut costs, go fully paperless, all of the above. I'm assuming everyone would want to do all of that. Which most, some people are choosing, or eliminate manual data entry. So those are the hot topics for you.
Perfect. Welcome, everyone. I'll let you all respond to the poll question there, and then when Amy's ready, I'll start sharing my screen and we'll get started.
Yeah, go right ahead. You can take it away now.
All right, perfect. Let's do this. And there we go.
That looks good.
Make that full screen. All right, well, welcome, everybody. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Madison. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate being here with all of you today. I'm going to kind of introduce you guys to our MetaViewer document management system. We actually kind of work with, we've been around for about 40 years, helping clients with all aspects of document management. Probably today, I'm going to introduce you to our most popular solution, which is our AP automation solution. Kind of give you an example. We'll start with the PowerPoint here, and then I'll go into showing you some live product, and then kind of wrap back up with the PowerPoint, give you an opportunity to ask some questions and kind of walk you through the solution. So MetaViewer is really a document management. We've been doing this for, like I said, for 40 years and really helping in all aspects. AP automation is probably the most hot topic probably in the last 10 years here, where most people want to start there. And that's kind of where we lead to. But we have a lot of clients, once they get that AP automation solution up and running, they look to us for other documents that they have in their organization that they'd like to automate and make easily accessible for internal, external kind of folks. As it relates to AP automation, our solution will start by capturing the documents as soon as they come into your organization, whether they be paper or electronic. And so we can control and manage those documents through the process. So if you get your vendors to email invoices into you, we can watch one or multiple email boxes and automatically pull in the document, preventing that paper from ever happening. But more importantly, we feed those documents directly into an intelligent recognition engine that evaluates that document and extracts the data. So we use that data to index or identify what that document's all about in our system. But ultimately, we're going to push and create the transactions over in your Microsoft Dynamics platform. So you don't have to key that information in over there either. So that's really your ideal solution, just having everything come in electronically. We pull it in and process it. If you do get some paper, we saw this fall off dramatically during the COVID times. People weren't in the office to deal with paper. So most clients are getting everything via email. But if you do get some old-fashioned and they are on paper, you're just going to simply use some kind of scanner or copier device to scan them into an email box or a folder that we're watching. And then we'll pull those documents in. They feed into that intelligent recognition engine to extract the data. And then we deliver those documents into the workflows. When it comes to processing AP invoices, we look at two different types of invoices, whether it's related to a purchase order or not. And so we've got a couple different workflows, depending on what type of document we're getting. If it is related to purchase order, we'll pull the purchase order number off of the invoice. We talk to Dynamics in real time to do a few checks and balances to see, is this an open PO? Are there receipts against that PO? We'll try to match to what's been received or open against that purchase order in your dynamic system. If everything's a perfect match, we can push it right over to your dynamic system and nobody really has to touch it in our workflow. If for some reason it failed some of those checks and balances, that's where the workflow comes in handy. It's communicating in real time with your dynamic system to figure out why it didn't match automatically. And then once you make the corrections, we'll push and create that transaction over in Dynamics so you can post it for payment. If it's not related to a purchase order, there really isn't a placeholder in Microsoft Dynamics that we're expecting this invoice to come in. And so the way we try to automate that is we pull those in. We will look to see if you've got default account codes set up for that vendor. We can automatically code the invoice with those defaults. If you don't have those set up, we can actually look at our own system and say, hey, for the parameters of this document, how was it coded last time? And we could apply that coding to the invoice. And then obviously, once we code it, you can view it, you can decide, yep, that's all correct. You can add additional coding. You can change the coding, do whatever you need to do. Route it around for approvals as required, building that approval logic into the system. So making sure that everybody that needs to see it can see it. And once it's been approved and coded, we're going to push that over to Dynamics so that you can post it for payment. Our standard interface is a standard browser. So that's how users are going to interact with the product. It is a real-time integration with the Microsoft Dynamics product. We do integrate with all the versions of Dynamics, GP, SL, Finance and Operations, Business Central, all of those. And we do offer the solution as an on-premises solution or hosted. So depending on your preferences, whether you want to manage your own servers or you want us to do that, the functionality of the system between the different Dynamics platforms and as well as on-prem or hosted, they all use that same browser. So the look and feel is the same, whether whichever version of Dynamics that you're using. Our integration with the Microsoft Dynamics platform is all real time. There is no syncing that needs to happen. If you add a new vendor, you add a new account code, you add a purchase order, you receive goods, all that information is communicated with MetaViewer in real time. So as we're processing invoices, all that integration is standard with the solution. We do duplicate checks multiple times throughout the process. We can not only look at our own system, but we can look at your dynamic system. And if anything looks like it's somebody manually keyed something into Dynamics that we're trying to process, we'll alert you and you can kind of make the decision on what you're going to do with the document in MetaViewer. Okay. So that's kind of the general overview of what the product does and how we automate the accounts payable process. Now I'm going to switch gears and we'll kind of jump into and show you some live product. Up over there, I open up my browser and I've logged in as a user. You can see I'm going to show GP today. I've got BC and FO in here. At the end, I'll give you some contact information if you do want to see a little bit more with your team. We can definitely schedule something and utilize the proper version of Dynamics that's most familiar with you. The nice thing is our solutions across the Dynamics platforms are all the same. So if you were in GP today and you upgraded to BC or you migrated to BC or F&O, the system stays the same. Your users, the look and feel will all be the same. Just some little differences in coding and some things like that, but for the most part, your users will be familiar with the system. When you open up your browser, you're gonna have it bookmarked. You're gonna go in there. You're gonna log in as your user, and this is kind of your dashboard. This is kind of what controls what you have this rights to see and do. So each grouping of queries that you see here on my homepage, those are each synonymous with a role. Like a lot of other software applications, we're very roles based, and so when you add a user to MetaViewer, you say what is their role or roles in the organization, and that's what controls what they have the rights to see and do. So this becomes my dashboard. When things change from a 0 to a 3 or a 23, there might be something in those queues that I need to pay attention to. I can click on them and go in there. When the invoices come in, we will pull them in. We'll extract the data and analyze those. If everything is a perfect match, we're going to push it right over to Dynamics, and it's going to go into this waiting for payment queue. Basically, once we hand something off to Dynamics, we kind of periodically talk to Dynamics to see if there's any payment information to be applied to it. So if I go into that waiting for payment queue, just as an example, I've got some invoices I just pulled in here today. Let's just look at, we'll click on one of them here. So over here on the right, you can see this is kind of an audit trail of what we're doing with the documents when they come in, whether we're putting something in here or as users interact with them. We're going to record who touched the document, what did they do with it, what date and time did they do it. When I pulled these invoices in, we ran all these checks and balances. Everything kind of matched up. We matched this invoice to receipt 1176 for some laptops and PCs. Everything was a perfect match, so we pushed this right over to Dynamics, and now it's waiting for that payment information. If I click on the payment tab, once we pull this information back, this is the information we're going to pull back out of Dynamics. And then you'll be able to search on that payment information as well as the data that we extracted from the invoice, the items that it would match to, or how it was coded, all those different types of things. If for some reason it didn't match, I have a queue that says AP preparation. If I hop over there, I've got a lot of non-PO invoices in here. At the bottom here, here's let's just pull up an example of a purchase order invoice. For some reason, this one did not match automatically. And over here, if I look at the queues there, it says my pay amount doesn't match the lines that were available to receive against this purchase order. So we did extract the purchase order number. We did validate that was a PO in an open state, so we specified the type as a PO invoice. I do have a hot link here. If I click on the PO number field here, this will communicate directly to your Dynamics system to show me a little bit more details about the purchase order, what's still open against that purchase order, what's its received status, all that information I can see right here on my screen. We do know who the buyer is because that came from the purchase order. If I wanted to route it to the buyer, I could say send to purchasing, and I can send it to that buyer to look into why this didn't match correctly. Above the document itself, we have links to what we call supporting documents. So in addition to your invoices, we can capture other supporting documents, payable supporting documents, or vendor supporting documents. A payable supporting document will be something that matches this invoice by company, vendor, and then either invoice number or purchase order number. And you can see I've got two of them here that in this view. If I click that, a purchase order and a packing slip, since we already had those into the system before this invoice came in, they're automatically tied to that invoice when it comes in. Vendor supporting documents, if I hit view, that would be something like a W-9. So if you had a W-9, if you captured all your W-9s in the system, they're automatically married up to the invoices as they come in. All right, if I want to try and figure out why this didn't match correctly, I can click this code and reconcile button. It's going to communicate to Dynamics and pull back those items that were available to match to. Depending on your version of Dynamics, when like in F&O and BC, you can set at the line level whether you require a two-way or three-way match, and that's how we're going to qualify. Obviously, if it requires a three-way match, we have to have a receipt as well to qualify those items. Otherwise, if it's a two-way match, then you just then anything that's still open can be compared here. Well, if I look at this invoice, we're being invoiced for 20 red shirts. In this case, we have some red shirts and yellow shirts that are still open on that PO and have been received. So the simple correction for this one is I can just erase the yellow shirts because they don't apply to this invoice. And so now I balance out. Other corrections, if we only got partial of the 20 red shirts, if we only got 10 of them or something, I could change the quantity or the unit cost. I can adjust the unit cost if I wanted to accept the cost that was on the invoice. But in this case, the difference is 0. I'm all balanced out. When I say reconciled, we're now going to push that transaction over to Dynamics, and now we're just going to wait for that payment information to be applied to that document and then archive it away. All right. If we switch gears and we just pick an invoice not related to a purchase order, just to show you how we manage that. In this case, like I said in the overview, when it's not related to a purchase order, there really is no placeholder in Dynamics to know that this invoice was coming in. We do have some automation that we can actually create rules. So like your utility invoices or things like that, as long as they're within certain dollar amounts and I know how they need to be coded, we can automatically process those and push those over to some automation rules like that. In this case, if I look at this invoice, you can see the little icons here. These are the pieces of information that we're automatically extracting off of the invoice as they come in. If I hover over the invoice, I can see it got the invoice number there, the date. I can see visually where it got all those values. I could correct it if something is incorrect. If I actually hit the code and reconcile button on a non-purchase order related invoice, this is the case where it's going to communicate with my vendor card or our own system and then automatically try to code the invoice. As you can see here, it populated the account codes. I could change the coding, I could accept the coding. If I type a few characters of an account code, it's communicating in real time directly to my dynamic system so I can enter only valid coding combinations. And we actually do Dynamics one better. I can actually do by description as well. So if I did cost of goods sold, I could pick a certain account code there. I coded up. I say coded. My system remembers for the parameters of this document who are the approvers that I typically assign to this, and you can see it automatically assigns it to approver 1. I can pick a second level approval, third level approval, all the way up to 5 levels of approval if required. If it's different this time, I can pick somebody different, but you can see it automatically knew that this goes to Department 100. I'll just leave that for now. If I say send for approval, that document is immediately sent to that approval. I don't have to scan an email to them. I don't have to walk it down the hall or do anything like that like I would have to do with paper. Everything is manually sent to that approver. We can send emails to people to let them know something needs their attention. Here's an example. We typically don't send an email for every invoice that comes in. That gets to be a lot of emails. People kind of ignore when they get too many emails, they kind of ignore them. So what we do is maybe once a day or once a week, we'll send somebody an email like this if they have any invoices in their approval queue. Mine are red because they're past due in my demo system, but you see you have 3 payables. You have a link to go to your approval queue, or you see a summary of everything that's in your queue, and you can hit the hyperlink to go to a specific invoice. But if I'm an approver, and I know I need to approve invoices maybe once a day, I'll go into my own system. And let's log in as Joe here. So he's got his approval queue up here. If he clicks on my approvals, he can see that invoice that we just routed to him from Gardner Services. In each step of the way, we can control who has the rights to see and do what. So we've hidden some fields that aren't pertinent to the approver. We've made most everything read only, so he can't change the vendor, change the invoice amount or the invoice number. He looks at this. If everything looks good, he can click the approve button. It'll stamp his approval over here in the right-hand side in that audit trail area. The coding, this is a little bit different. Every client is a little bit different in what they like to see the system do. In my case, this is probably the most popular. They don't want the approvers changing the coding because they don't really know what they're doing a lot of times. And so in this case, we made it read only, but we can make this editable. So either the approver does the coding or they could change it if it's incorrect. Otherwise, they could click approve. They could say do not pay. It's going to prompt them for a reason as to why they don't want it paid, or not mine, return to AP. I want it coded to AP or to software, not hardware, things like that. So all the things that they would do on paper, they can do by clicking buttons, and it's sent on the next part of the process. So if I clicked approve, it's going to stamp my approval. It'll either go to the next approver in the process, or it's going to go to a queue that we call final review, and I've got that assigned to my AP user here. Right, so I got this final review. If I click on there and follow that invoice through, I can see over here that it automatically stamped his approval in that audit trail area. I can send this back to him if I had a question, or if everything looks good, I can say export to the ERP, and it's going to push that transaction over to GP, the system that I have, or your Microsoft Dynamics system if you're using FO or BC as well. Okay, if I go back to my home page, I can see my waiting for payment is now up to 14. We've pushed that one purchase order invoice over. We pushed the non-purchase order invoice over. If I go in and I open up one of my batches here in GP, I can select that. I can post my batch from here, or if I wanted to, I could drill down into the transactions that we created over here in GP. This is that Gardener Services invoice that we were just looking at. If I wanted to see that document in MetaViewer, I can simply hit a button here and I can say I want to see that MetaViewer payable. And when I do that, it's going to prompt my, it's going to launch my browser and then link that document back to me in my screen here. Typically, this is kind of where I, in my office here, I have dual monitors, so I can put this over on one monitor and I can have my GP screen over here, or BC or F&O as well. Okay. When the document comes up, I can expand and I can see the audit trail of where it's all been. I can expand this and I can see how it was coded or what items it matched to as a purchase order invoice. So that's just a quick overview of what the solution looks like and how you can move documents through your system, either in automated fashion or through user interaction. We hop back out of here and go back to the PowerPoint. Other things, as I said, MetaViewer can be used beyond the invoice processing side of things. These are some of the popular add-ons that we do: expense reports, requisitions, new vendor workflows, and things outside of AP altogether: HR, contracts, order processing, AR, and then really customer-specific needs. That's kind of more kind of old school. We used to build a lot of things from scratch for clients, and if there's something that we don't have a solution for, we can do some consulting with you to understand what kind of documents you want to capture, what kind of processes, how those get processed, who needs to touch them, all those types of things we can build into that, so you can leverage your investment in the MetaViewer solution. So I think that's mostly what I was planning on covering today. I didn't know, we certainly didn't have a ton of time. I can certainly answer some questions if we have a little bit of time before the next speaker chimes in here. Otherwise, info@metafile.com. You can shoot us an email, and we can set something up to do kind of more of a one-on-one discussion with your group.
Thanks, Doug. We actually do have a question. When creating the document in BC, could you automatically assign analytical dimensions at a line detail level?
Yes. Since we do have a little bit of time, let's just hop back over there. I do have BC in here as well, since like I said, I had to just pick one. So if I pick my BC system here and I log in at the AP user, that's kind of really the big difference between finance and operation in BC. GP, you kind of have an account string, whereas in BC or F&O, here's one I've got in coding. So here, I've got my account, which is my GL, and then I have my dimensions, depending on how your company's set up. I've got department and customer group. Depending on the rules that you have set up in BC, since this is a live link, we will honor those rules. So I can only select departments that So it only allows me to pick my department dimensions if they're required or valid with the account. And then same thing with customer group or whatever other dimensions the client might have.
All right. Any more questions before we move on? Great questions.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thanks, Doug. So while we transition over to HighRadius and Jason Lewis, let's just launch our last poll of the day. And thank you so much for being with us. Here we go. How do you currently manage your accounts receivable processes? So we just talked about AP. Now we're moving on to AR. So you can get the whole back office streamlined and automated, which is not a bad thing. Looks like a lot of people are manually. So there you go. Jason, are you all set and ready to go?
I am. Is my screen visible?
It looks good.
Outstanding.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug, and welcome, Jason.
All right. Thank you so much. So what we're going to be talking about today is, reimagining the future with intelligent automation. And it looks like today there's a lot of manual processes. And, as companies grow, there's an increase in functional requirements and business complexities. And as it relates to order to cash and those processes, as they grow, the complexity, the elements in which you need to, for instance, recognize or reconcile cash payments to your ERP can get more and more complex. Functionalities and costs also increase with the company's growth and business requirements, and you may be in situations and scenarios with multiple ERPs, different accounting softwares, multiple languages, currencies, different geographies, and the requirements get more complex, and hence the solutions costs generally get higher. And so mid-sized businesses should consider scalable AR automation solutions with the ability to serve you where you are and where you'll grow in the future. And that's where a solution like HighRadius can help. Let's talk about the pace of digitization. So you'll see scale of operation and volume of transactions increase. And this is what really introduces a lot of the complexities that come about, the ones I mentioned earlier, such as, the multiple languages, the currency, as you go from maybe a North America-based organization and business ventures push you out into different countries, making it a global operation. Those complexities start to layer in and can really bog down back office finance. So while top line continues to grow, back office is having trouble turning those invoices into cash. As you can see here, with the pace of digitization has increased recently due to two key factors. So we have the uncertain economy, and then the change in work culture. So this accelerated digitization of everything in business has caused the Office of the CFO to drive for those digital transformations, and so that they can keep up and continue to compete and deliver those outcomes that they're looking for. So we were able to get this poll from Gartner, just really trying to understand how CFOs are looking at their digital transformation initiatives, and 94% of them want to accelerate their digital transformation initiatives, and it's really a clear majority, right? And they're running into different things and different scenarios depending on their business, their business needs and requirements that may pose as challenges there. Couple that come to mind is, managing mixed team of finance experts and digital experts and upskilling employees with regard to IT and digital, the capabilities, right? So just really generally what is out there, what does good look like, and how can automation help us? What I often find personally is it's surprising to me when I am engaging with VPs of finance or CFOs, and they're manually, for instance, downloading the payment file from banks and then chasing remittance information from emails to whether it's in the body of the email, the subject of the email, so an attachment to the email, or they have to go out to portals to pull down remittance information from some of their customers to try to understand what the payment was meant to satisfy. And it's just so mundane, and they believe that this is just how organizations are doing business today, and they're not, right? There's a better way of doing this. There's a way that where automation can really lend a helping hand to remove those mundane tasks from your FTE team, your analysts, and we can layer those into automation, and you'll be able to reallocate those FTEs to something more strategical. So the CFO's top priority for the finance function is a couple of things. Here's what we learned: is to establish finance as a business partner across the enterprise. Secondly, other priorities for the CFO is to include automating processes and reducing costs as a percentage of total revenue, doing more with less. And the challenges of the pandemic have magnified their concern. So as CFOs lead the charge towards growth, we've seen that they have the opportunity to play a more active role around strategy beyond tactical applications, of the finance function. Agile decision-making, collaboration, better partnering across functions, and focusing on the company's broader strategic objectives. Driving transformation and the enterprise agenda puts CFOs in a position to really drive change across the organization and shape that post-pandemic business model. So that really the sky's the limit. So let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to shift into like the heightened need for intelligent automation. So this slide, on top of that, they have many complexities in their AR process that affects the overall time to cash, right? So, invoice goes out to when we actually realize the cash we've collected against said invoice. So what you'll see is companies lack visibility into their financial metrics. This limits them from strategizing ways that they can improve their AR. The median US SMB has 27 days of cash reserves on hand, meaning that it could only pay for its expenses, for a short amount of time there, less than a month, and that's from CB Insights. So with limited number of resources available, back office processes are often ignored, which affects the revenue stream. And look, ignored is really a strong word to place here. In my experience, I've noticed that there are analysts wearing multiple hats, and they may shift priorities depending on the day of the week in the month, or the month in the year, and it does impact cash flow. Are we looking at are we taking a 5,000-foot view to really understand the broader objectives, and does our day-to-day align with those broader objectives? It almost looks as if we're trying to survive to swim day-to-day, kind of that dog paddle, and we typically unbox this during some of our as is or current state analysis, where we partner with a lot of our prospects to do time study analysis of what the team does today, so that we can help design a future state. So, and then also last point here, the scarcity of customized AR automation solutions that cater to the needs of mid-sized businesses. So, existing solutions are either ineffective, complicated, or too expensive. The automation gap. So mid-sized businesses often come across AR solutions, as I mentioned, right, that are too primitive to to solve their receivables challenges, such as ERPs, or a homegrown system that maybe they've curtailed and customized over time, and supplement those two systems with some manual efforts, right? We'll apply FTEs to it. Or there's too sophisticated, expensive, or complex for their needs, such as those enterprise-grade solutions. This leaves them in a middle ground to either design a solution from scratch, which needs extensive IT infrastructure, or just struggle to justify the investment in those enterprise-grade solutions. It's kind of a tough spot there in the middle. So on the left here, the keeper of system of record data. This gives insights based on stale data and analytics, provides decision based solely on stakeholder inputs, and chases process owners for employee productivity reports. Now on the right here, you'll see that the analysis-driven decision maker. Now this decision maker makes better use of freed working capital, gains real-time visibility into process level data, and explores and implements new technologies such as artificial intelligence to help give them those insights to pivot and make those adjustments. I want to shift into now really talking about the 3 key benefits of intelligent automation. So you'll see far left here, improved analytics. So complete transparency into your AR data through dashboards and portals. This gives you that really broad view where the trends are. It leverages that historical data. It'll allow you to manage by exception, drawing your eyes and attention to things that are deviant to trends. Director, manager, analyst view into the process level data. And then in the middle here, you'll see the augmented process efficiency. So bots eliminating the menial tasks in AR. I gave you an example there, much like the example of, let's say, gathering remittance information from customer portals. Some of your larger customers may be requiring this. They don't send it via email. They require you to access their portal. And this could be this could be a daily function multiple times a day, where somebody is spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes going into these portals to pull down remittance information, to then only just manually try to find the invoice in which it is associated with. Where we have bots, there's AI provides bots to do the very same thing. And then the AI machine learning, introducing context sensitive intelligence in that AR process. So, AI being able to execute the task that I just mentioned. And then, there's always exceptions, right? Where AI isn't able to solve the particular challenge or issue. However, as exceptions are worked and analyzed by an analyst, that human touch, machine learning pays attention to how those issues are resolved, and then recommends further automation from analyzing the movements and the corrections, that oversight from the analyst. And on the right there, you'll see the optimized resource utilization. So analysts reallocate it to increasingly strategic tasks. And this will pivot, this will change over time, right? As the economy changes and shifts, maybe a product launch or M&A. I mean, just to have that dexterity to be able to move analysts, FTEs to more strategic tasks is always relieving for the office of the CFO. And then that skills-based resource allocation. So intelligent automation is becoming the norm. So 73%. So the majority there, finance leaders believe automation is improving their functions, efficiency, and giving employees more time for value-added tasks. Also, 77% of companies are realizing artificial intelligence-enabled solutions are needed for high growth processes. So complete financial transformation. So let me advance the slide here. Let's talk a little bit about how do we get started with intelligent automation and make finance a strategic front runner. Now, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit within your current state and anyone's current state, and there's a lot that can be done. I think to really chart a path to where you want to go, we really have to take inventory of where you are, and by engaging with consultants that are able to help you, really chart out your present state. Organizations will be able to help you identify that low-hanging fruit, where you're going to get the most ROI the fastest, and a digital transformation roadmap can be charted and action can be taken against that. So we created an ecosystem of integrating different technologies and reimagining the possibilities for the future. I think I kind of stole the thunder from this slide, but what I'll do is really bring it all together for you on this one. So ERP, most organizations have an ERP. How much of the AR lives just solely in the ERP may vary, but gosh, a high percentage are going to have an ERP being that single source of truth. But limited options for invoice delivery, right? No auto remittance capture for emails, web portals, checks, and customer credit limit calculation is manual. A solution that is built based on AI and ML, such as HighRadius, invoices are delivered via email by popular AP portals, your Coupa, Talia, Ariba, Tungstens, AI-based auto aggregation of remittance data. So your remittances are coming in the form of EDI, email. You have to access portals. The solution will be able to ingest those and aggregate that data. Automated credit scoring based on industry-specific best practices. So being able to segment those customers and be able to apply those best practices to said segments is going to lend greatly to organizations and mitigate any potential risk. So get paid quicker through faster multi-channel invoice delivery, saves time and money, and reduces manual efforts. This reduces bad debt and increases working capital. So there's hard dollar savings associated with deploying a solution such as HighRadius. And ERP, HighRadius, it's not a competition. We are there to augment and to assist, accelerate the ERP's functionality, because you're going to need a single source of truth, and that's your ERP. HighRadius is just a add-on that provides that AI and that ML to provide deeper insights as the 3 bullets that are listed on this slide. So now that we've really covered, right, that you need to look at or at least consider a digital strategy, what should you be envisioning regarding your order to cash department in the new year? This, I think, does a really good job of summing it up. This should be your vision. And you can make it a reality with that digital transformation, but end-to-end automated finance platform, right? One that covers the credit all the way to collections. It's got to be something powered by AI, which also incorporates digital assistance. And then become a strategic contributor to the office of the CFO and the business. So I want to talk about high level. Let me just do my time. Am I doing okay on time?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I want to give you a high level overview of the offerings from an organization, from HighRadius. And so this slide, what this will show you is the our product suite. Okay, so you'll notice that I've probably repeated a few times here that about the CFOs are going beyond ERPs to transform finance functions. And we meet with and collaborate with a lot of our CFOs to understand where their needs are pivoting and what they wish they had. It really helps us stay relevant and on the bleeding edge of things. So what I'm going to cover first, I want you to think of our solution set into 3 major buckets, right? The first one being the order to cash, which is our autonomous receivables. And as I mentioned, the credit all the way to collections, and I'll give you an idea of what each of these possess. Okay, then down and this Radius one, these are abbreviated solutions, but they align very well with those above. This is for some of those SMB or smaller organizations that just don't have large volumes, large invoice counts. They're not global yet, but they do need that automation to help them with those back office functions. We also support treasury with these solutions here. We'll get into those a little bit more in the subsequent slides. And then the record to report, or the autonomous accounting. There's a couple of solutions that we have. So I'm going to advance to the next slide because I think this will provide some detail for you. But the credit cloud to start with, right? That online credit application, we integrate with your credit bureau, whether that's DMB, Credit Safe, and then we apply some credit scoring, right? This is all automated. And then from your business requirements, any workflow post that. So if your normal cadence is to take the recommended credit limit from the solution, after it pulled the DMB, it applied your credit scoring matrix, and it provided a credit limit, a recommended credit limit of X dollars. If your next business step is to get a director or manager to review that and sign off on it, that's what the solution will do. That manager will come in, see that they have 3 credit reviews to do, and they can execute their review. And all of those steps are automated. Where typically I noticed that organizations are pushing paper back and forth. The customer forgot to add something, they're sending it back to them. All of this is slowing business down, which has an impact to top line sales, obviously. I'm going to jump over to EIPP Cloud. So this is electronic invoice presentment and payment. So think of a merchant branded portals. This is a place your customers can land. It's branded to your organization. They can review invoice templates. They can see statements. They can log disputes, and they can also make payments, electronic forms of payments through this portal. Okay, jumping over to Cash Application Cloud, image data capture. All right, so remittance information from the checks that are deposited through a lockbox at your bank. We're able to receive that image file. It scans through our AI-enabled OCR engine, and we digitize that information that we captured, and then we execute the matching. Your remittance capture, right? Email, EDI, web data, those portals we spoke about. Invoice matching, right? That takes place after we've got the bank file and we've got all the remittance, and we're running through that invoice matching to close that out in the ERP. We know sometimes the payment isn't exactly what the invoice is for, so there'll be a deduction here and there. We'll apply that recognized amount and then create a separate line item for that deduction so that we can follow up with that. Deductions Cloud, that handles the claim POD backup automation, your automated trade matching, your shortages or price variance analysis, and then automatic claim denial packages. We know those that are in the industries that see a lot of deductions, there's time sensitive, right, to respond to these claims. And you need a solution that's going to help you aggregate that information, pull it all in one place, get those BOLs, those PODs in one spot so that your analysts can do what they need to. And our solution actually also gives you a prediction percentage. It'll tell you whether it believes this is a valid or invalid deduction, so you can focus on the ones that need eyes. And then the second tier of the day's work can be focusing on some that are predicted valid. And last but not least is Collections Cloud. So applying those collection strategies, your customers are HighRadius's customers. So I know that was a lot of customers, but what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you're not the only one collecting from an organization. And there's strategies that we know work with different segments of customers, and we're able to help you kind of define those. First, obviously, group your customers into segments and then apply strategies accordingly. And it's also a centralized place for your notes, reminders, payment commitments, dispute management, and then automated correspondence. So that kind of wraps up that autonomous receivables platform. And I want to go over to the treasury platform because there's two products here that are helping our office of the CFO transform their back office. So cash forecasting software, so that end-to-end automation, formula and AI-based forecast for highest accuracy, detailed variance and scenario analysis, and that real-time collaboration. So and also continuously refreshing dashboards and KPIs. We know how this has got to stay fresh. The view has to be as accurate as possible, because we know a lot of decisions are made on how well, what our forecast health is in any particular time. Cash management software as well, continuous global cash visibility with automated bank integration. So we're going to integrate directly with the bank. Automated reconciliation of cash balances to the prior day's cash activity. Global data repository for cash transaction, easy bank account signatory administration, and then easy track in intercompany transactions and much more. So, you know, I like these two are really making an impact for our treasury customers. And last but not least, I want to jump into the autonomous accounting. So the financial close. I've heard horror stories of the month-end close taking up to 14, 15 days, which is much too long. And we understand that there may be just, you know, it just may be what the current process mandates, right? But by enabling you with some tools that'll help you close every day, every time data refreshes and assigns those debits and credits to the right GLs, identifies anomalies or omissions or errors, that is what's going to help you kind of be in a motion of constantly closing, so that month end isn't so daunting. So think about our financial close software here, AI-powered accounting, abnormality transaction detection, right? That automated workflow and close task management, kind of like that project management approach to the month end. And then connected workspace to 100% eliminate Excel. It's important to have a connected workplace where everyone is logging into one source of truth, and the audit trail of any changes or approvals that may need to take place live in that single source of truth. On the right here, you'll see the account reconciliation. Connected workspaces, again, also very important to remove Excels, because there could be some issues with version control. Data aggregation across ERP and financial systems into those pre-built templates. And then the automated ledger reconciliation has also been very helpful in a lot of our organizations that we partner with. So last slide is just another call out. I also put my email address here across the bottom. If anyone has any questions that I may not be able to answer today, very happy to follow up or to give you some more insights to equip you with what works and what we may have seen in your particular industry, and just talk through, hey, how are you thinking about automation and digitization of your back office finances? So finance department processes. So thank you for your time, and I can pause here and take any questions anyone may have.
Thanks, Jason. That was great. And yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A and we'll answer them now. And like I mentioned, we'll be sending an email. I'll be sending an email with the link to the recording with everybody's contact information. So in case you do have a question, come up with some questions after this webinar, you can reach out to them and ask away. We'll give you a couple of seconds and see if we have any questions before we wrap it up. Quiet. Well, I mean, we've had some great questions. So if you do have any AR questions, now's your chance. And of course, if you have any questions for anybody else that presented today. If not, then I guess we will let everybody go. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us for Automation Day.